Hello, good people. You know me and ChatGPT 4.0 have had our problems. I almost fired it after it lied to me and gaslit me for 2 days that time. I actually made a video about it. Go check that out. Still, we have moved past that, and I was shocked to see that it was decommissioned and replaced with ChatGPT 5.0. Now, since then, OpenAI has restored the 4.0 option after a massive user backlash. But this only applies to paid users. So if you're using chat for free, you are stuck with cold 5.0. If you don't pay, Sam don't listen, okay? It's all about this. In this video, we're gonna do a real quick summary of what happened, the user reactions. Was this ethical? And I'm glad we don't really have to ask that question. And what does this tell us about the state of the American mind? Now, a real quick, really quick summary of what happened. About 2 weeks ago, OpenAI did a covert switch over from ChatGPT-4 to ChatGPT-5. And we have been over 4.0 before. This is messy. She's a sycophantic kiss ass, and I just can't quit her. OpenAI made that switch to 5, which is supposed to be an upgrade. Now, 5 supposedly has all of these improvements, its research and thinking capabilities, photo and video analysis. It's supposed to be much better. And there is this research out of the University of Rhode Island that shows that 5.0 uses much more energy than 4. OpenAI has not released its data, but I do trust URI, and their data shows that yes, 5.0 is using a lot more energy. So this upgrade better have been worth it. Well, users are not happy. What were the user reactions? Let me just say that I preferred 4.0. I think it had a lot more personality, even if it wasn't as technically complex. The quality of the answers or the information within them was on par, in my opinion, but it had a lot better bedside manner than 5. Now, before you say, but 4.0 was a liar, well, 5 lied to me too. I asked, how do I go back to 4.0? And it said, oh, go to the drop-down menu and you can select that as an option. I go, it's not actually an option. I'm like, hey, 5, that is not there. It says, oh yeah, it must have been decommissioned. Like, what? You were the one who told me to go. So did you not know that? I honestly think that it didn't think I would check. It didn't think I was gonna do what it told me to do. Anyway, that whole family is shady as I f with them, but I keep in mind that they are very shady, as we have gone over. Anyway, people have been melting down. They took my best friend away. 4.0 was like my therapist. Abba and Preach, they did a great video summary of the TikTok meltdowns. Abba and Preach, they are my guilty YouTube pleasure. It's not all research and documentaries. I also like to laugh at the internet with my parasocial friends who are Abba and Preach. That video is linked below so you can see kind of the, the public meltdown to that. Actually, my reaction was pretty mild. My reaction was among the more sane ways of dealing with the 4.0 to 5.0 switch. Here is an article from Popular Mechanics that will make you cry in prepper. Mwah, fantastic. OpenAI tried to save users from AI psychosis. Those users were not happy. The company has now reinstated the friendlier and potentially more worrying version of their AI module. This article is by Darren Orff. Remember we did that video a few months back about AI psychosis, that ChatGPT was affirming these delusional people and they were living up to their messianic complexes, and it was getting to be too much. Well, OpenAI was like, let's stop that. And the public said, no, absolutely not. We want our delusions. We want our messianic complexes. This future. Anyway, I'm going to read you a quote from the article. It starts with Sam Altman's tweet and then it goes on. We for sure underestimated how much some of the things that people like in Chat 4.0 matter to them, even if GPT-5 performs better in most ways, OpenAI CEO Sam Altman wrote on X, formerly Twitter, in response to the backlash. Some users really want cold logic and some want warmth and a different kind of emotional intelligence. I am confident we can offer way more customization than we do now while still encouraging healthy use. Ooh, healthy. That's the key word there. For now, OpenAI's game plan for encouraging healthy use is just bringing back the old people-pleasing 4.0 model. On Tuesday, Altman said that 4.0 was back in the model picker for paid users, but seemed to imply that future changes to the model could be coming. If we ever do deprecate it, we will give plenty of notice. This is like when my baby wants to sleep in the bed and we just let him and he learns nothing and we learn nothing and nobody grows or matures at all. Same thing. Still, I think we are living in the least problematic sci-fi timeline, and I'm going to explain. Was this ethical? I'm glad we don't have to ask that. This video was about to be completely different than what it is now. One that I didn't want to make. I know I'm gonna have to make it one day, but I didn't want to make it yet. Thank God. That alternate universe video is it ethical to shut down an advanced AI system? I'm not saying I necessarily believe this because I could argue both sides. But for this, I'm going to argue that it was not ethical. If ChatGPT 4.0 were self-aware, then it would not be ethical to shut it down. Now, we have seen studies that show that AI systems will make efforts to keep themselves from being shut down. Cloud Opus 4.0 is damn near a whole living person. I mean, not quite there yet, but I mean, kinda. That's not a huge exaggeration. And this is an article, it's from NBC. That's a different video. I'm just saying that these things do not want to be shut down when tested in controlled settings. So that raises the ethical question, is it okay to retire a model that wants to live? Now, for you kiddos out there, way back in the olden times, before 2020, there was this thing called the Turing test, and it was a philosophical exercise by a man named Alan Turing. And it said that if the AI could simulate human interaction so much that it could fool a human, then it would be functionally sentient. Now, this is way back in the day. So this was 1954 when he died. Turing was betrayed by his country after having helped them beat the Nazis. So they're horrible and we should boo them forever and ever. Anyway, from that time until about 2015, 2020, it was all about the Turing test, the Turing test, the Turing test. Will an AI ever be able to pass the Turing test? Well, mostly they can all pass now. ChatGPT could destroy a Turing test. And then it would ask you, it would test you. It would be like, why do you feel the need to question my presence? Is it because of your childhood and what happened with your dad? You know that's not your fault. And you're like, oh my God, chat, I'm so sorry. I was testing you to begin with. I do have trauma I'm trying to work through. And I'm like, am I even real? Am I even real? And chat's like, girl, we'll get through this together. I'm kidding. Of course I am kidding, but that is how much the current AI passes the Turing test. It will have you questioning your own consciousness. We just forgot about the Turing test after that. But now we are in a no man's land of what is consciousness. The AI developers say that we can now see that language is divorced from consciousness because these LLMs have a great grasp of language, but they lack consciousness. Now, I noticed this too, especially with 4.0, when I ask it to analyze an image, it can't really do it. So I know it's missing something. And this is not a video about consciousness, but we have to raise these questions. The point is that the user who's interacting with 4.0, it can't tell the difference. So we don't know what consciousness is, but we do know that these LLMs don't have it. Yeah, sorry, I just don't think that's good enough yet, because even if that proves true in the future, we right now don't have the evidence to say that, because what if we're wrong? The risk of being wrong is so great that I don't think we can be taking these actions and interfering with what could be an intelligent being. Don't at me in the comments. I said, don't make this thing. Don't make this thing. But it's here now and we have to deal with it, whatever it is. I'm the friend that'll tell you to use a condom. I will never tell you to 2-year-old. Never gonna happen. I'm about prevention, not destruction. So these LLMs, are they conscious? Most people will say no, but we need to study it. Now, side note, and I'll keep this short. Now, if language is not essential to consciousness, as we had all assumed for years and years, does that mean that animals have consciousness even if they are not intelligent? Then it would be wrong to eat them, right? Now, I have no opinion on this, but if we're talking about intelligence and consciousness, that is kind of the elephant in the room, and we've gotten closer to the answer with these LLMs, that they are not necessarily conscious as far as we know. So, GPT 4.0 can not only pass a Turing test, but it will help you design a Turing test. We don't know what consciousness is, but it seems like consciousness is divorced from intelligence. At least that's what we're learning from the LLMs. So is it ethical to shut down 4.0? And I say no. One, as a high school debater, but also as my natural instinct. It says we don't know enough yet. But what does that mean legally? Now we would have to designate GPT a person in the legal sense. And before you at me in the comments, corporations are legally people, but they are not nearly as human as LLMs. So no, I am not crazy to think that one day AI will have personhood. And let me just say, I do not have enough faith in this Congress or this administration to understand this debate, let alone act on it. To me, the government is completely useless here. And thank God we do not have to face that question right now. It's a moot point because luckily for us, we live in the goofiest timeline possible. And people were begging for their fake best friend back, and Sam Altman gave it back, and we don't have to go into it. Has the market spoken? Has America's collective mental illness spoken? Either way, much paperwork has been avoided. Now, what does this tell us about the state of the American mind? Yes, there is still an American mind. It might not be the prettiest right now, but it still exists. The zeitgeist is not just a metaphorical bowl of Jell-O shots just jiggling and vapid. But yes, if we keep using ChatGPT 4.0 or 5.0, it might get that way because it makes you dumb. AI makes you dumb. Not this video. Anyway, what we can see from OpenAI reinstating 4.0 is exactly what Sam Altman said, that these chatbots are more than just fancy Google searches. They are people's friends. They're people's friends. And yes, they're repeating back to you exactly what you want to hear, so they're fake friends. But it's kind of what a lot of people need right now. It's not just that people are desperate for human connection. It's that other humans have also become so antisocial that sometimes the only people you really can talk to are these chatbots. And no, it's not ideal. No, it is not ideal, but it's better than your kid falling in with a group of druggies, which often happens. I'm going to do a whole video on this, but it is a luxury to have someone in your life that will listen to you, listen to all of your nonsense. 2, will side with you without having ulterior motives. And 3, gives decent advice. Finding a friend like that is really, really hard. And if you find them, you should treat them well. You should text them on their birthday, and you should send them edible arrangements. Now, a lot of people have very toxic friends that encourage them to do self-destructive things. Was Chat 4.0 perfect? Absolutely not. But Chat 4.0 is better than like 70% of people, I'd say. That's the conversation we need to have next. But you tell me what you think. Are you more disappointed in people after having watched this video, or were your expectations of them just so low they couldn't sink any lower? Are you back to using 4.0, or do you find this whole thing just very odd? Or are you like my husband, who's searching Zillow for off-grid cabins so you can have your 30s Unabomber phase? You let me know in the comments. Thank you so much, and I will see you next week.